What is up, YouTube? Welcome back. Aeneas here. We've got yet another card spoiler slash preview discussion. I think this is the last ones we're going to have for this set. There's just been so many good cards that I really think are going to shake up the meta and be powerful and see play in standard and sometimes even historic or pioneer. So yeah, this set definitely is a very strong one. Very cool stuff going on here. Definitely, there's no way we're going to be stuck in the mono black meta forever. Well, unless these new mono black cards are too strong as well. So we'll see about that. But I am very excited for this set. I think there's a lot of cool stuff coming. So yeah, I think there's about maybe 60 cards in the new set out of the new 287 or so that came out for this set that I think are quite good. So yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of this set in the next in the coming sets as well, because they just seem very good. All right, let's get into it and try to get through these last ones. And we're starting off strong with this Blade Coil Serpent. So Blade Coil Serpent, similar to another card we saw earlier, it's a 6 mana card plus X, any X you want. And for each double blue you spend to cast it, you draw a card. For each double black you spend to cast it, the opponent discards a card. And for each double red you spend to cast it, it gets +1 trample and haste. So, for example, if you paid blue, blue, black, black, red, red, nice Grixis colors there, the opponent discards a card, you draw a card, and this creature gets haste and trample. So it becomes a 6/4 with haste and trample until end of turn. So that's pretty sweet, if I have to say so myself, for 6 mana. But you could also do something like, I don't know, blue, 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 black, black. You get a 5/4 body, you draw 2 cards, and the opponent discards a card. That's also really sweet for the mana. Maybe you could go all blues and just draw 3 cards if you want to. 6 mana, draw 3, get a 5/4 body. That's also really sweet. But I think that's going to be a little bit hard to do unless you're just playing mono blue. So maybe this is another card for mono blue. I don't know. But yeah, seems pretty good. I guess you could make the opponent discard 3 cards, but by the time this is coming down, probably they won't have a full grip anymore. But yeah, anyway, I think it's going to be sweet in any of those combinations of colors, except for probably not mono red. I don't imagine just getting well, I guess it would be an 8/4 haste trample. Maybe that's worth, but it would die to a Doomblade, you know, it's so, I don't know. Probably not that, but the other ones seem really sweet. Yeah, it could be a control finisher. It's just so good, to be honest. Just, you could even pump even more mana into it and just draw like 7 cards and have a nice body as well. So yeah, sweet card. Really love this one. All right, next one. We got Gwena, Eyes of Gaya. So this is an interesting card, kind of like an elf we've seen in the past. 2 and a green, legendary creature, elf druid scout. Taps for 2 mana in any combination of colors, but you can spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activate abilities of creatures or creature cards. So yeah, it's kind of like an elf lord kind of thing we've seen, where it's tapping for 2 mana, which is pretty sweet. You don't see that very often. And it has another effect. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 5 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on Gwena and untap it. So basically, you might be able to go, I guess not infinite, but you could definitely get a couple big creatures out on the battlefield with this ability, because you're tapping for 2 mana, cast a creature, untap it, you get 2 mana back, potentially cast another big creature, untap it, cast a small creature, something like that. So yeah, that seems pretty good. Even if it's just a 2/3 that is gonna grow each turn and ramp you, that also seems very good. So I think mono green, there's been quite a few cards that were good in mono green. This one might just push it over the top. I mean, ramping from 3 into 5 or even 6 on the next turn seems pretty sweet in a mono green deck. So I think this one is going to make the cut for that. Okay, next one, Haywire Might. 1 mana, 1/1. But whenever Haywire Might dies, you gain 2 life. Also, And then it says green, sacrifice, haywire might, exile target non-creature artifact or non-creature enchantment. So it's artifact or enchantment removal that's attached to a creature body. We've seen this before in like Thrashing Brontodon, which was pretty good, but that also had a decent sized body. I'm thinking this might be okay. I mean, you get the 2 life when it dies, so it's kind of like destroy an enchantment, get 2 life. Um, it's also an artifact, so I think if your deck has artifact synergies or ways to recur like cheap artifacts or reasons to want a 1 mana artifact, this could be really good in that kind of situation. But I think without the artifact synergy, it's not going to cut it. But it's a sweet card nonetheless. I think probably the first time they've done an artifact creature, 1 mana artifact creature that's an enchantment removal. So, yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, next one. This card, so this in I think Spanish. I might be wrong on that, but it's 4 mana, 3 to black. It says take the top 3 cards of your library, exile those. Then take the next top 3 cards of your library and exile those. You look at both piles and you choose one to turn face up. The other one is face down. And your opponent sees the face up one, not the face down one, and they choose which pile to give you. So they either give you the face down pile or the face up pile. And then you get those cards and you lose 3 life. So basically it's 4 mana, draw 3 and gain 3, lose 3 life. But the opponent has some decision in which 3 cards you get. So might make it not quite good enough. But it is still 3 card for 4 mana, which is a pretty good rate, you know, especially in black. So we'll have to see, but it's kind of like Factor Fiction kind of thing. We haven't seen that in a while, so that is a strong card. I assume this one could be good, but maybe the life will matter. Not sure. Anyway, interesting cards still. I'm loving their design for this set. Okay, next one. Legions to Ashes. 1 white and a black. Exile target non-land permanent. So this is like Vindicate. Vindicate might be Destroy though, so this is Exile. So that's a little bit better, to be honest. And then an opponent, and if there's any tokens that players control with the same name, you also destroy those. So if you choose to destroy like tapped Power Stone, you'll destroy all their tapped Power Stones. Or a Blood Token, you'll destroy all their Blood Tokens, or something like that. So probably that scenario doesn't come up very often, but still just a 3 mana exile, target non-land permanent. Still pretty good. So this will definitely see you play. This is a good card. Alright, the next one, Misery Shadow. This is a card, they used to print a lot of these back a long time ago, back when I first started playing Magic. I haven't seen a lot of this type of card recently because they thought it was too powerful. But basically, it's a 2 mana creature for 2/2, and it has a 1 mana ability where it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So basically, the benefit of this card is you play it early, and then towards the late game, when it would just be a 2/2, now you could bump it up to be like a 7/7 or something and swing it for lethal. And you don't even have to put more creatures on the board because you can literally just pump this thing and the opponent has to respect it. So that's kind of how you play this card. Get the opponent to waste their removal, waste their wrath on this creature, and then you play something more powerful after they kill it. That kind of thing. And then it has another effect on it. It says if a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. So maybe you pump this thing when they're blocking, it gets bigger, their creature dies, and they exile it. They have to exile it, something like that. So that's another just added benefit on top. But I think the real power comes in the pump ability for only 1 mana, 1 colorless mana. And I don't know if that's still good anymore. It used to be really good, like I said, back when I first started playing Magic, but nowadays might not be good anymore. But we'll have to see. But still like to see the card. Cool for that they brought this back. Alright, next one, Power Stone Engineer. This one looks pretty weak. It's 1 and a white for a 2/1 that when it dies, it creates a tapped Power Stone token. This is one of the only cards that has the Power Stone thing on it that I think might be playable, and that's why I included it in the video. We've had what was the one from Strixhaven that would give you the learn? I can't remember the name. There was also another card recently that does the connive, the Rafine's informant, I think, something like that. So those kind of 2 mana, 2/1s do something have been pretty decent in the recent experience. So I think it could be good. It does technically will ramp you to some things. I guess it doesn't ramp you to non-artifact things. But you can activate abilities. There's been a lot of sweet abilities on the creatures. So could end up being worth it, or could end up have some synergy with artifacts or something like that. But just wanted to mention that because it's usually it's better than it looks for these guys. All right, next one, the Rootwire Amalgam. This one I'm not sure about, but it looks kind of decent in a mono green deck. So it's a 5 mana 5/5 artifact creature golem. It has the prototype ability for 1 and a green where you can cast it and it becomes a 2/3. So 2 mana 2/3 seems okay. And it has the ability for 3 green green. And it says sacrifice this creature, create an XX colorless golem artifact creature token, where X is 3 times this creature's power, and it gains haste until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So you play down on 2 for 2/3, and then later on turn 5 you don't have a great play, so you sacrifice this, and then you get a hasty 6/6. So it's kind of like upgrading your creature, which seems pretty good. And late game, if you get to cast it on turn 5 as a 5/5, the next turn you can upgrade it to a 15/15. So that seems also very good. Since we also just saw that there's ramping in the green, potentially green aggressive decks, seems like they can get this down and use its ability pretty easily. So I think in that big green stumpy aggressive deck, this will probably be a player, or at least it's in the running for being one of the cards because it seems pretty good. Next, we have another card. Yeah, I'm not sure what language this is. It might also be Spanish, but or Portuguese. But basically, what this one does is it's similar to Divest. So if you know the card Divest, where you discard a creature card from your opponent's hand, this one's even better because it can do artifact or creature from their hand. And since the set is so artifact heavy, that just seems great, right? Every deck recently has had creatures, and probably after this set, every deck will have creatures or artifacts. So I feel like this card will never miss, and so probably it's just an auto include in all your black, at least your black control decks. I don't know about anything else, but unless you're facing a control mirror match, this thing's gonna hit something. So yeah, just seems like a great discard effect. Alright, Steel Exemplar. 5 mana for a 4/4 with trample, artifact creature, wizard. I thought that was kind of cool. Artifact creature wizard. How does that work? Steel Exemplar enters the battlefield with 2+1/+1 counters on it, unless 2 or more colors of mana were spent to cast it. So this is really mostly good in a mono-colored deck. So mono blue, mono green, mono whatever. And it will come down as a 6/6 with trample for 5 mana. So I think you'll probably see this in either mono green or mono red, something like that, because it's just a big statted trample creature. But it might not be good enough. It has no other real effect than that, so yeah, it might not make the cut, but I just thought it was a pretty good static creature for the cost. I guess it's kind of like a Colossal Dreadmaw, now that I think about it. But so it's a colorless Colossal Dreadmaw basically. But yeah, anyway, there you go. All right, next card is this one. All right, so 3 mana for 3/3 with flying, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets flying, vigilance, or lifelink until end of turn. So you could give this creature vigilance or lifelink since it already has flying, and it will be a 3 mana 3/3 with flying and lifelink. or flying and vigilance. Or you can give another creature flying, so you can both swing in with flying. It happens the turn you play it as well, so if on turn 2 you play something, then you play this on turn 3, you can immediately give that thing flying and swing in. And so I think it's going to be really good in mono white decks, just being aggressive and getting flyers for evasion and stuff like that. So it seems good, and then late game you can play for 6 mana if you want, same effect, but just a bigger body. So yeah, it seems really good in white aggressive decks. So yep, it'll probably see play. Next one, Teething Wormlet. So this one is 1 green cost for a 1/1. So that's alright. It says it has Death Touch as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. Okay, a little bit better. But you have to get 3 artifacts for Death Touch. That seems tricky. But it says whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. And if this is the first time this ability resolved this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Teething Wormlet. So, you play this turn 1, turn 2 you play some artifacts, now this becomes a 2/2, and you get a life. Yeah, I don't know. Do you keep going from there? And it's going to keep growing. So, I guess you'll want a bunch of artifact creatures, potentially, so that this can grow and you can still be aggressive. So maybe there's a deck like that that can be made in the set. Not sure, but definitely this is a strong card in the right deck. It's definitely worth considering trying to build around or something like that. Okay, alright. Let me take a breather. There's a lot more to go and a lot more to read. Alright, the Temporal Anchor. This is a cool card for control. So it's 3 blue, blue, blue. And at the beginning of your upkeep, scry 2. It's a legendary artifact. And whenever you choose to put 1 or more cards on the bottom of your library while scrying, sorry. Whenever you choose to put 1 or more cards on the bottom of your library while scrying, exile that many cards from the bottom of your library, and during your turn you may play cards exiled with the Temporal Anchor. Okay. So, beginning of your upkeep, you scry stuff to the bottom that you want to play. And then whatever you scry to the bottom, they exile and you get to play them. So it doesn't say play for free, but basically it's kind of like draw 1 or 2 each turn, whatever you decide to scry. And you can play them so you can get lands as well to do your lands for turn. So it's kind of just like a 6 mana thing that lets you have some selection / draw cards every turn, kind of. So it's definitely a good card. Could potentially be too slow because it is 6 mana, but if you get it down, it seems like it's gonna give you tons of value, so probably pretty good. Oh, sorry, I don't sleep enough. I'm just yawning so much. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, work is crazy, but yeah, I'm here for you guys for the magic. So excited for the set, so yeah. But yeah, I mean, it gets drawing 2 cards a turn. That's gonna just run away with the game. So if you can get this down and not be dead, then I think you'll quickly win the game thereafter. So that's the question. Can you get it down and not be dead? We'll see. Definitely gonna try. Alright, next one, third path, Iconoclast. So this is a blue and a red. This is another one of those cards that I think would be good with the Monastery Swift Spear. If you saw my last video about the Is It Prowess deck, then this is another Prowess type creature. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 soldier token, artifact creature token. So it's kind of like a Pyromancer, Young Pyromancer. But I think not. Young Pyromancer was only instant or sorcery. So this one works with any non-creature spell, so also artifacts. Yeah, that seems good. I guess potentially you could play artifact creatures. No, non-creature spells. So yeah, that doesn't work. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Don't know what's going over. Yeah, it seems really good. I mean, in some sort of prowess deck with the Monastery Swift Spear, this guy, the Electrostatic Charger, Balmor, you just got kind of like the whole suite there to just go to town on the opponents with your value. So great, 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 great card. Gonna see some play. All right, next one, Thopter Mechanic. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Thopter Mechanic. When Thopter Mechanic dies, create a 1/1 colorless artifact creature token with flying. This is a 2/1, so 2 mana for 2/1 that gets bigger when you draw cards. And when it dies, it creates a Thopter. So just a really good value card, to be honest. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a blue-black draw second card matters kind of deck. So I think maybe it could go in that one. Could be good. Or some sort of aggressive shell. I'm not sure that wants artifacts. Either way, seems like a pretty solid card all around. Alright, this one I just wanted to bring up because it's interesting. We haven't had this effect really in a long time. Castle Bartonville, kind of. But 3 mana to surveil on a land seems pretty good. But it might not be good enough, but it's still pretty cool. Pretty cool. Alright, to Casius Welcome. I hope I said that right. Whenever one or more creature cards with mana value 3 or less enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn, and it costs 2 and a white. So it's kind of like the Welcoming Vampire, but it's an enchantment instead. Yeah. I think Welcoming Vampire triggered for 3 or less as well, so pretty much the same thing as that. Just drawing cards is fun, is pretty good. Could go in your like White Weenies deck. You get it down, and then every card you play draws you a card, pretty much. So seems solid. We'll see if it fits anywhere, but it seems solid. All right, next one. This one is pretty crazy that they printed this, and I have to imagine that it's got to be good somewhere. So 3 mana artifact, and it has black and a tap. Sacrifice a creature. You gain 3 mana. Oh, I just realized it has to tap. That's a little bit disappointing, but still, sacrifice a creature, pay 1 black, and you get 3 mana, 3 colorless mana. So you're basically ramping 2 mana by sacking a creature. It's kind of like what's that land that you sack and you get black mana, I think? Something tower? I can't remember. It's something in Historic that you sack a creature and you get some mana. So kind of similar to that. Pretty interesting. You can also do 2 and sacrifice a creature and you create a 3/3 colorless zombie token. So I think potentially you could be upgrading your small creatures into zombies, and then if you want to also upgrading creatures into mana to cast bigger spells, stuff like that. So pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool card. Might get really annoying, to be honest, if it sees a lot of play. But yeah, I like that they're doing this stuff. All right, this one, just wanted to mention this one. I don't really know if this is going to be good, but it's got a decent effect, so I thought I'd share it. 6 mana, 4/5 flying, enters the battlefield, deals 4 damage to any target, so you can go face, you can kill something, you can kill Planeswalker, and you can also pay 1 red as many times as you want, and it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So, yeah, I mean, kind of a 2-for-1 when you play it most of the time. So probably decent, but it's 6 mana, so probably too slow for most decks. Next one, Erzalix. 3 mana, 2 white, exile Erzalix. Each player chooses 6 lands they control. Destroy all other permanents, so you keep 6 lands and you destroy everything else. Activate only as a sorcery. When it's put into exile from the battlefield, you may pay 2. If you do, search your library for a Planeswalker card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. So, if you play this on 3, you can sack it on 4, but you won't get the Planeswalker card. But maybe you just need a board wipe. Later in the game, you can sack it and get a Planeswalker from your deck. So, pretty good. And it's basically a sweeper, so that's pretty good. So, I think it's good. We'll see how good it is. Next one, Visions of Phyrexia. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile a top card of your library. You may play that this turn. If you didn't play it, you get a tapped Power Stone. It's 2 and a red, so it's kind of like Fires of Invention, I think it was. But you still can play from your hand, and you can only play 1 card off the top each turn. So, yeah, good and bad, good and bad. We'll see. Kind of like a Chandra 4-ish. I don't know. We'll see. Yotian Tactician, 2 and a white and a blue. Other soldiers you get +1/+1. It's a 3/4. I don't really think this will see play, but if soldiers is just like super great and people want more lords for their soldiers, then maybe this will see play, but it is 4 mana lords, which often don't see play, so maybe not. Zephyr Sentinel is a 1 and a blue for a flash flying creature with 2/1 stats. When it enters the battlefield, return up to 1 other target creature you control to its owner's hand. If it was a soldier, put a +1/+1 counter on Zephyr Sentinel. So you can use this as a protection spell, save your creature. This becomes a 3/2 when it comes in, or you can just play it as a 2/1 with flash speed to finish them off or do something. So this is a great card for soldiers for sure. Okay, wow, we got to the end. That's amazing. So, those are pretty much all the cards I think are going to be great. Like I said, there's like 30 more that haven't been shown yet, but usually they save all the comments on comments for the end, so probably that's what it is. But anyway, what do you think? What cards do you think are going to be good? Did I miss anything? Yeah, let me know what you think. I think the set looks sweet. I think there's a lot of new design space they haven't done in a while, and some of it they haven't done ever. So really, really excited for this set. I think it's gonna I think there's gonna be tons of decks after this set, to be honest. So many decks. So anyway, that'll be it for the video. Hope you like it. Leave a like and a comment and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.